Yeah, good evening, everybody, Um and welcome to this webinar, which is going to discuss the fellow program in management, which is our doctoral program, and the admissions process associated with that. So I'll just walk you through some of the slides. We should be through with this part as far as the webinar is concerned in the next 15 odd minutes. Um, as far as IIMB's FPM program is concerned, it represents one of the 5 long duration programs as far as the institute is concerned. In addition to the 2-year PGP program, the 1-year EPGP program, the PGPEM program, which is for working professionals and is held on Fridays and Saturdays, and the postgraduate program in public policy and management. The fellow program in management is one of those 5 programs. The fellow program, as the name suggests, is a program for doctoral students. It's a program for primarily for careers towards academia, and also for suitable openings as far as industry is concerned, which have a research emphasis. But our primary target is academic institutions. So we train faculty members or future faculty members so that they can be placed in some of the institutions. In fact, I'll mention towards the end of my presentation that we've been quite successful with regard to placing some of our doctoral students in several of the leading institutions as far as business schools are concerned in India. At IIMB, we have the unique distinction of having faculty who are extremely well qualified and well versed as far as several of the research disciplines in which we are able to guide the students. To take you through, we have several specializations. The slide indicates these: decision sciences, economics and social sciences, entrepreneurship, finance and accounting, marketing, organizational behavior, human resources management, production and operations management, public policy, and also information systems. But what we would be offering as far as admissions to the doctoral program for this year is the ones which are indicated in the slide in front of you. So information systems is one of those specializations which we are not offering an admission this year, but all the other areas are open for admissions for the 2018 cycle. We have faculty who are extremely well published, who are very knowledgeable in these particular areas, and consequently we are in a position to be able to offer guidance and training at a level which is comparable to the best institutions as far as doctoral education globally is concerned. Just to take you a little bit into the structure as far as the program is concerned, it's a 5-year program with the first 2 years catering to coursework. And the expectations here are that you would finish 9 courses in year 1, 3 courses in a particular term, and a further 9 courses in the second year. So it's total of 18 odd courses. Each of these particular courses, or these 18 courses, are broadly segmented into what are called as required. These are the core courses, and recommended courses are courses which are elective, and these are decided by the student's interest in a particular area, but also in consultation with area colleagues, and more particularly each area or specialization has an coordinator dedicated to this particular program. So usually this electives are also chosen in consultation with that concerned faculty member. In addition to these 9 plus 9, that is 18 courses, there is also a need for what are called as independent studies. There are 6 credits which need to be completed as far as these independent studies are concerned. By the way, each of these 18 odd courses which I mentioned carry 3 credits. So it's a total of 54 odd credits as far as courses are concerned. The 6 independent study credits are undertaken over the 2 years, and there can be any combination associated with it. You can have 1 credit associated with each term, or it can be 3 credits in a particular term. That again depends upon the concerned student and the faculty who is guiding that particular student. The objective behind those independent studies is to provide a more detailed analysis or perspective with regard to a subdomain which is too narrow to be scheduled as a course, but wherein a particular faculty has expertise and the student would like to delve in more deeply as far as their particular subject is concerned. And it's very flexible in terms of what it would entail. It could be looking at the conceptual underpinnings as far as that particular subdomain is concerned. It could be familiarizing oneself with regard to a particular empirical method, which is well regarded if one wants to pursue doctoral work in that particular field. So it encompasses a wide array of pedagogical possibilities. During these 2 years, during the summer, at the end of the first year summer, there is an expectation that one does the beginnings associated with the research project. So we don't expect a full-fledged paper to be submitted at the end of the first year, but there is an expectation that one starts on an area of interest as far as one's research is concerned. This could simply mean collecting data or looking at a couple of research papers, doing a literature review, but there has to be some activity which is leading towards some independent work as far as research is concerned. By the time one reaches the second year summer, that is after the conclusion of all of those particular 6 terms, there is the process of what is called as the comprehensive examination beginning after the end of the 6th term. The comprehensive exam is the final test with regard to the coursework. And typically for all areas, it includes a written part in which you're tested as far as your knowledge is concerned, which encompasses the various courses which you have taken in year 1 and year 2. But it also, beyond the written part, it also concludes with a viva voice. And that viva basically is the final barrier between you clearing the course-related aspects and entering independent work as far as your dissertation is concerned. So once you clear that particular viva, you are then well and truly into the road as far as doing research in that particular area is concerned. So there are critical steps which need to be cleared before one is able to embark on one's own research from year 3 onwards. These include meeting the minimum CGPA requirements as far as year 1 is concerned, as far as year 2 is concerned, and then clearing the written part of the viva, and then the written part of the comprehensive exam, and then the viva, after which you get into year 3. When you get into year 3, the expectation is primarily in that year. There are some set deadlines. I'm not going into the details associated with it, but the expectation is that during year 3, you would identify the principal advisor with whom you would want to work as far as your research is concerned. And you form basically what's called as the dissertation advisory committee. The dissertation advisory committee consists of the principal advisor. It consists of 2 other members from the faculty body. It can also consist of 1 more member from outside the institute or from within the institute if the nature of the work which you are engaging in requires you to do so. You have to then, along with the dissertation advisory committee, which includes the principal advisors and all the other members of the committee, you have to prepare a thesis proposal. Basically, what a thesis proposal is, it's a roadmap associated with the sort of research which you intend to do, and it encapsulates a lot of the elements associated with how this particular work builds on prior work as far as that particular subdomain or field is concerned. What is your original contribution associated with it? How do you intend to go about doing it? So a lot of the elements are presented in that particular proposal. This proposal is publicly defended before not just the dissertation advisory committee, but also other colleagues in the area. It's also other doctoral students who are present during that particular proposal defense and other faculty members also. Several questions get asked at that point of time, and once you clear that, then you start with implementing or executing what you had proposed as far as your thesis proposal is concerned. You get to then start to write the thesis. Of course, it need not be in the form of a book which encompasses one broad research question with several chapters which investigate several issues associated with. Increasingly, what is the trend that we see out here, and something which we also encourage, is that you have a collection of something like 3 odd papers, which then eventually form your dissertation. So that's something which you would discuss with your thesis advisor and also with the DAC members. Once the typically year 3, later stage of year 3, after you have presented your thesis proposal and defended it, then most of the time in year 4 and year 5 is largely spent on accomplishing the writing as far as the thesis is concerned, either in the form of 3 papers or in terms of chapters as far as the dissertation is concerned. In year 5, our hope is that you would have accomplished or finished this task, and then the dissertation advisory committee finds that your work is of a quality that it can be sent for external examination. It goes for external examination. It's evaluated by 2 external evaluators. These 2 external evaluators then submit their reports. It's often a case that some more revisions are required based on the comments as far as the external evaluators are concerned. And once those comments are addressed, then there is a public defense as far as the thesis is concerned. And on successful completion of this public defense, you are through as far as the doctoral program is concerned. You are awarded a doctoral degree or an FPM during the convocation of the 5th year if you manage to complete it within those particular specific deadlines. Increasingly, we are trying to get more and more of our students complete within that stipulated time frame, but given the uncertainties as far as research is concerned, it tends to spill over. But a large proportion of our students do manage to complete it by the 6th year, if not at least in the 5th year. The admission eligibility criteria are there on the slide. We also have detailed documents as far as what is the institute admission criteria, which is across all the specializations. Information on that is available on IIMB's web pages. I also have my colleague Professor Raj Pandey from admissions here to answer any specific queries on that. But there are 2 documents on our web page. One relates to the overall admissions criteria. The other one refers to the area-specific admission requirements. And each area has its own specific criteria with regard to what they would accept in terms of the requirements as far as candidates are concerned. And I'd urge you very strongly to look at those documents in detail. This is just a snapshot of the different acceptable tests scores as far as various areas are concerned. As you can see, there are differences across areas. Some areas take a broader set of scores which are acceptable. Certain other areas are narrower as far as their selection of test scores are concerned. The process, very briefly and broadly, involves um, um, a shortlisting of candidates based on these particular criteria. If you clear that, then you're essentially called for an area-specific written test or an interview as per the specific requirements. We tentatively expect the candidate interviews to be held in the last week of March 2018. You can apply to a maximum of 2 areas. Those are the areas which I had read out earlier. And as is indicated in the slide, the final selection is a composite of the test scores, past academic performance, area-specific tests or interview performance, and any other specific area requirements which are indicated in the area-specific documents. Just to give you some context as far as what support you are likely to get during these 5 years. I mean, this is one of those, in contrast to the other 4 programs, this is the only program which pays you to study. So out here, you get a monthly stipend, which is currently 29,300 rupees. This is in case you decide to not avail of hostel accommodation. Then if you're unmarried, you have 8,500 rupees as HRA in addition to the 29,300. If you're married, then there is 13,000 rupees per month, which is added to this. In terms of, we have fairly attractive support financially for conferences and generally for support in terms of research. So you are eligible for a startup grant of 75,000 rupees in year 1, which can use for purchasing relevant hardware, software as far as your research is concerned. Every year from year 2 to year 5, you are given a contingency grant of 25,000. Once you successfully defend your thesis proposal, your monthly stipend increases by 2,000 rupees from 29,300. So it's plus 2,000 from there. You're eligible for attending 3 national conferences. Support for each of those 3 national conferences is 20,000 rupees. This is, of course, subject to approval. There is a small committee which evaluates requests as far as conference funding is concerned. International conference, you get support up to 1.5 lakhs for the very first time. And then for any subsequent international conference approvals, you are given 75,000. There is no cap on these. Of course, the bar is higher for each subsequent international travel request. You can also draw on any unused contingency for your international travel in case you exceed any of these limits which are specified here. Of course, what's also mentioned in the slide is that through those 5 years, you essentially have a hostel room charge waiver as long as it's within the period in which you get financial assistance. The very last slide, which I wanted to just mention to you, is that we've been fortunate in what we've been able to achieve as far as the doctoral program is concerned. Over the last couple of years, our alumni and as well as the current crop of students have done exceedingly well with regard to publications and conference presentations and acceptances. There are a couple of our students who are now in all of these institutions which I have listed out here. These include likes of IIM Ahmedabad, Calcutta, Lucknow, Indore, Trichy, Udaipur, Raipur, Kashipur, and many more, in fact. On last count, we had in excess of 40 or 45 of our alumni in all of these particular leading business schools. I think we probably are currently the largest supplier of faculty to all these. They've all done very well on the publications front. Several of them have publications. Institutions tend to categorize publications into what are called as A category or top tier journals. And increasingly, we are having several of those particular students, along with their faculty colleagues and other collaborators, manage to publish in these well regarded journals. We have also had some students who've uh, had opportunities to pursue postdoctoral fellowships, including at the Kennedy School at Harvard. We also had uh, students who've gone to the Stern School, I think, at NYU, and some of the other research postdoc fellowships, which I have listed out here. We do have some placements as far as students are concerned in the corporate as well as in the government sector. Some of them are indicated out here. So what I would like to emphasize is that given the large number of IIMs which are expanding and being set up, and the increasing opportunities which exist as far as business school education is concerned, we anticipate that we would be in a position to be able to cater to the needs as far as the country is concerned to provide faculty for all of these institutions. We have also started to see some progress with regard to some students managing to pursue faculty positions, even in international schools. Still a small number, but we are seeing few of them managing to be placed even globally as well. That's all that I wanted to present to you. The last date to submit these applications is the 17th of January 2018, 5 p.m. It's there on your slide. You're free to mail us on those two email IDs which are provided, or call us on those numbers which are indicated when you have any specific admissions related information which you would want to gain from us, or any program related information. The FPM office email ID as well as numbers are provided.
Thank you, Professor Raji, for that presentation.